fair context. A sanction means that whatever grants or monies you were eligible for, you will not be getting that because of a certain set of criteria that is at the social worker's discretion. Right? So we sanction people at our discretion. So we dole out resources based on our personal feelings. Although there are guidelines around those things, but how we operate within those guidelines is up to us. And then we frustrate the heck out of people. So how do we move past that stuff? We have to understand for people that there's dignity and honor in being human. How much time do I have? Where am I?
15.
I got 15 minutes. Okay, so I can slow down just a little bit because I also want to have some conversation. So there's dignity and honor in being human. What is dignity?
Self-respect.
Self-respect. Dignity. Pride. Okay? Is dignity something that you have or something that you can give? It is in fact both, right? So you can have dignity and you can give dignity. Now, one of the things that I think is interesting is that when you don't give people dignity, they try their best to take it. For example, I don't know if this has happened to you, it happens to me all too often. I'm at a traffic light and there's a group of teenagers trying to cross the street. Now, one might think that because they are so young and they are so beautiful that they could cross the street much faster than they do. Right? And it never fails that there's one teenager who makes eyeball-to-eyeball contact with me, right, as they're walking across the street, as if to say, your kind adults don't see me any other time, but you will see me now. Right? So dignity is not only those things that you mentioned, but dignity also is that I have the right to exist exactly how I am. Dignity. What is honor? What is honor?
Respect.
It's respect. Honor. Who are we supposed to honor in our society? Our mother and father. We honor our mother and father. Who else do we honor in our society?
Spouse.
What's that?
Spouse is significant.
Our spouses, significant others, children, elders, right?
The country itself.
The country itself, right? Elders, all that kind of stuff, right? So these are people who we give high levels of respect to. And we typically give them high levels of respect because they've done something in the past on our part that we couldn't do for ourselves. So we give them respect, right? A high level of respect is called honor. All right, so please raise your hand if you can answer yes to the next two questions. Raise your hand if you either took a test or you purchased a ticket that made you eligible to be born on this planet. None of us did anything to bring ourselves here. We all accepted an invitation. I don't want to think about how the invitation came. It's disgusting. But we all accepted an invitation. And we're trying to figure out what it means to be human. One of the most profound things I ever heard when I was teaching high school in St. Paul at a charter school, we took our kids to do a service learning project. We went to an assisted living facility with seniors. And one of the coordinators was sharing with our kids that they needed to be gentle with these folks. And this is the phrase that caught my attention. She said, because, I'll make up this name, Miss Susie has never been 91 before. So Miss Susie is trying to figure out what it means to be 91. And then I started thinking about my own self. I was like, well, I've never been the age that I am. I've never been 40 before. So I'm trying to figure out what that means, right? And so when we think about, human beings, we have to remember the significance, belonging, and safety. And we're constantly trying to figure that stuff out. And lastly, it's important that we start to understand this last word, which is human. And when I searched for a definition in the dictionary, I found something very profound. That it actually has two definitions. One is being a noun, a biped, having opposable thumbs, a big brain, and a belly button. If you ever encounter a person without a belly button, be concerned. Right? Human, Homo sapiens sapien, the one who knows that they know that they exist. Metacognition. We can think about thinking. But human is also an adjective. And what do adjectives do? They describe what? The noun. So what is it that we teach the youngest of our species, our brothers, our sisters, our nieces, our nephews, our sons, our daughters? What do we teach them about it, what it means to be human? And that's not rhetorical.
It depends upon the family that you're raised in. Some parents will say what it means to be
No. I want to know what you teach them.
Oh, I don't have.
You interact with kids. You see them in the stores. They're everywhere, right? There's something in the water, because I've seen so many pregnant people lately. It's just crazy. So what do you teach? What do you want to teach? What do you want to pass on about what it means to be human?
Be a kind person.
Be a kind person. Challenge yourself. What's that? Be imperfect. Care about others.
Teach my kids to be of service.
Teach your kids to be of service. What else are we teaching about what it means to be human? Care about the earth. Be respectful. To love. To honor yourself. To honor other people. Last couple of things. I only have a couple of minutes, and I want to... So Parker Palmer also talks about the trust circle approach to really helping people heal, because what we know is that hurt people hurt people. And sometimes they can use systems to magnify that personal hurt. And so I'll give this stuff to you. I'll make sure you get this in a link. So I'll send all that stuff to you in a link, because I want to have some discussion after all this stuff. So I want to make all this stuff simple. So we have the 7 deadly sins of helpers, and I want to give you a tonic that will heal all of that. You guys ready for the tonic? Can you take the tonic? So here we go. I am going to make it so simple. Your job is simply to love. That's it. Love yourself and love people. But oftentimes we get straight to that mushy place, and I saw some of your eyes kind of roll over like, oh my goodness, what is he talking about? This is so fuzzy. Are we going to sing Kumbaya? Yes, we are. All right. So I'm going to break down love in 3 particular kinds of ways, because it's important that we understand this. There is eros. And eros is the root word where we get eroticism or erotic, right? So self-pleasure. So this kind of love talks about self-pleasing or aggrandizing kinds of approaches to interacting with other people. What's the problem with doing it because it feels good to me? It's selfish. What else?
It's usually limited.
It's limited by what?
It stops here.
It stops here.
Obscured by your own perception.
It's obscured by your own
What
perception.
they exactly need.
And when do I stop doing it? When it doesn't feel good. Eros. I do it because it feels good, and I stop doing it when it no longer feels good. And then there's philos, which is the place where a lot of people try to go. Philos is the word where we get the word Philadelphia, or brotherly love, right? Philos is a contractual relationship. What's your name, sir? Luke. I give Luke $10 because I know Luke will have the ability to do what with that $10? Pay me back. Give it back to me. And as long as we have this relationship that is mutually beneficial, that we keep coming back and forth, me and Luke can be cool, as the kids say. But what happens when Luke is no longer contributing back to me what I poured into him? We're done. Me and Luke got problems now. He's my frenemy. Right? So philos is contractual. So as long as people keep up the contract, we're good. But what I like to offer to you is that there is agape, which is unconditional. I didn't say it was unrequired, but it's unconditional. So I give this stuff to you, not because you've done anything to earn it, because you deserve it as a human being. You deserve to be whole. You deserve to have a great place to live. You deserve to have a place that is safe for your kids. You deserve significance, belonging, and safety. Not because I have a checklist or a rule or a standard by which society says that you should do this, but because you exist as a human being. To cure the 7 deadly sins of helpers, we simply just need to love. My name is Andre Koen. Thank you so much for your time. So, given that limited amount of time for me to go through all of that stuff, questions, comments, observations?
Have you gotten pushback at all? Because I've worked in the field for a quarter of a century. And there's been so many times that I've had that frustration of, my God, if we all stood up and just said, enough, this needs to stop, it's not working, it's not helping. It's very hard to rally and people to be willing to do that. It gets into legislative changes or whatever. Have you gotten to where it's planting a seed of hope and people are willing to do that, and what's the outcome of that?
I personally, yes. There was an initiative that actually was signed by the city of Minneapolis around African Americans and Native Americans and the hiring practices within the city. And a group of us, social workers, government workers, social service agency folks, we got together and started to help put a plan in place. So I would say that the mental hurdles are a lot higher than the practical hurdles. Organizations really want to do well by people, and they need to hear from people who are practitioners about what's not working. However, people need to do that in a spirit of trying to be helpful and not in the spirit of trying to destroy something just to destroy it. And you all know this in your practice and in your learning, that it is irresponsible to take something from someone if you don't have something to replace it. And that the same goes for working with organizations, right? So if you can identify all the problems, but you can't identify any solutions or corrective actions, don't talk. I mean, first, do no harm, right? And second, try to do some good. Yes?
Isn't that why a lot of people don't speak up though? Because they feel like I don't have a solution for this. So therefore, I shouldn't talk. So,
Which is why it's important that if I'm having a struggle with this and you're having a struggle with this, that we get together and have some conversation, because the group is always smarter than the individual. So although you may not necessarily have an answer, Kelly, in our conversation, I'm sure that we can come up with something, right? And at some point, you may have the answer, but you just haven't recognized it within yourself, right? It is I have spelling challenges, and mostly because I don't see my mistakes. I have to have other people point out my mistakes. They go, oh, did you? Oh, I didn't see that, right? And so you may, in fact, have the answer, but you can't see it yourself. You'll need another set of eyes to help you with that. And yes, that is an excuse that people typically use, but they typically use that excuse when they are by themselves. I saw another hand. Okay, is this practical and helpful? Okay. Yes. Yeah.
People are looking to be fired up about these kind of things. The Council of Crime and Justice, Minnesota Council of Crime and Justice, has just advertised that they're having their seminar on October